So we are back for another episode of the Championship Roundup, and in today's video we have a lot to talk about. In the Championship over the past weekend we actually had quite a few upsets going on, so as always I'm very interested to get your guys' opinions on what you made of your team's performance in the comments down below. I'll also leave some polls for you guys to vote on for this video, as we had a couple of talking points come up over the weekend. Before we do get into any of the fixtures though, I will include your guys' comments on screen now, so if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then I will include your comment on screen now. And fair play to everyone who did get one right. Like I said, we had quite a few upsets going on in the Championship this weekend, so we had some tricky scorelines this time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into talking about some of these games. And so we'll start out by talking about Friday night's game between Leeds United and Derby County. A lot was made of this game after the whole spy situation going on in the week before, and I'd be interested to get some of your guys' verdicts on this down below. If I've got to be honest, I don't think that it made any difference really to this game. Derby were absolutely awful and Leeds United completely ran away with it. Spy or no spy, Leeds were always going to win this game with how both teams were set up in this one. Jack Clarke for Leeds United was absolutely unplayable. He had a hand in both goals for Leeds in this one. Leeds had some good opportunities to take the lead before Kemar Roofe eventually did give them the lead. Cooper had a fantastic chance which just went over the bar, but in the end it was Kemar Roofe darting in at that near post after some nice play from Jack Clarke down the right hand side to put Leeds 1-0 in front. Then in the second half, Leeds managed to double their lead. Scott Carson having a bit of a howler in this game, it has to be said. The ball coming in from Jack Clarke from the right hand side. Carson really should be looking to catch it or something. He just seems to tip it out, goes straight to Alioski, he plays it across goal, then Harrison has a tap in to make it 2-0 to Leeds. After that point, it was a completely dominant performance from Leeds. Derby were far off the pace, didn't really have anything going forward in this one. And with more teams dropping points near the top of the table this weekend, that 3 points could be massive for Leeds come the end of the season, who they're looking good for automatic promotion at the moment. And then into Saturday's games, we have Birmingham going up against Middlesbrough. Only 4 points separated these two sides going into this game, but it was Middlesbrough who walked away with all three in the end of this one. Birmingham for this one, it was sort of a game of two halves for them really. The first half they weren't really at the races. Middlesbrough probably had the better chances and eventually took the lead. They had one goal-mouth scramble where they had two chances cleared off the line, but eventually Lewis Wing at the far post did give Middlesbrough the lead. In the second half, Birmingham showed a massive improvement though. There was a lot more intensity about their play, and as soon as Middlesbrough did take the lead, there wasn't really that urge from them to go on to get the second goal. They sort of seemed content with what they had. Birmingham came onto it a lot more in the second half. They hit the post. There was a lot more forward-thinking combinations, and eventually Che Adams got Birmingham back into the game on the 79th minute with a fantastic strike. He had about 5 Middlesbrough defenders around him. He spun 360 degrees and slotted it into the far post. Fantastic finish from Che Adams. But then only 3 minutes after that, Britta Sombolonga was able to give Middlesbrough all 3 points. Some criminally bad defending from Birmingham. A simple through ball, defence splitting pass. As Sombolonga was the first to latch onto it, he raced through on goal and chipped the ball over Lee Camp to give the away side all 3 points. Quite poor from a Birmingham standpoint to concede a goal like that. Judging off their second half performance, they probably justified the point out of it, but Middlesbrough took their chances when they came around, and you got to say they're grinding out the results at the moment. And then we have Brentford beating Stoke City by 3-1. Nathan Jones' first game in charge of the away side not going to plan. Maybe this will be a bit of a blessing in disguise, as he now knows the weaknesses and the limitations of this Stoke squad. He now knows what he needs to do with this Stoke squad, and there's going to be no hiding room for anyone really, but it was an absolutely dominant performance from the home side. Brentford have been looking a lot more like themselves recently. They're now unbeaten in their last 5 championship matches. Some fantastic attacking football in this game. The goal which gave Brentford the lead was a little bit comical. Ryan Shawcross scoring an own goal after Stoke failed to clear their lines. Ben Rama then made it 2-0 after 17 minutes. A nice sweeping finish from him after Romain Sawyers had linked up well. Benakofobe did get Stoke back into the game with a rifling shot from outside the box. Stoke's only shot on target for the entirety of the game, and considering how poor Brentford's defence has been this season, that's something that they need to work on. Attacking fluidity in this Stoke squad hasn't come easily for them so far this season. Rico Henry then wrapped things up with a nice solo effort to make it 3-1 to Brentford, and they could have easily had more. Jack Butland made a couple of saves in the first half. They hit the crossbar twice in the second half as well. This is the sort of football that we've been accustomed to seeing from Brentford in recent years, and the longer that this run of form continues for them, the better really. I'm sure they'll surge up the Championship. And then we have Bristol City beating Bolton Wanderers by 2-1. This result now leaves Bristol City just 2 points off the playoffs, so let me know down below if you think they could be a dark horse for the top 6 this season. This result though does leave Bolton 23rd in the table now, 3 points off safety, and after everything that's gone on with Bolton over the past few weeks off the pitch, a result in this one would have been absolutely massive for them, just to lift the spirits around the club. That wasn't the case in the end, and it was Bristol City walking away with all 3 points. Bolton did take the lead in this one though. A cross coming in from Amiobi and Will Buckley getting on the end of it did give Bolton a 1-goal lead. However, that lead for Bolton was fairly short-lived. Bristol City got back into the game fairly swiftly after that, with Matty Taylor levelling things up after he'd just been introduced by Lee Johnson, and then another substitute, Casey Palmer, coming on for his debut, managed to win it for Bristol City in the end. A bit of a go-on scramble after a corner had been swung in. Casey Palmer got got the final touch on it, and the ball just about crept over the line to give Bristol City all 3 points in this game. So what I want to know from you guys, with Bristol City now sat 7th in the Championship, do you think they could sneak into the top 6 this season? Let me know down below. And another side who could be a dark horse for the top 6 this season is Hull City. They are going absolutely fantastically in the Championship at the moment, and another fantastic performance against a pretty limp Sheffield Wednesday side in this one, beating them by 3-0. It was once again a very convincing performance from the home team. Jarrod Bowen scoring 2 goals in this game, the first one being a nice killing effort from outside the box, the second a penalty after Kieran Westwood had brought down Chris Martin inside the box. And we've spoken a lot about Hull's attacking outlets so far this season with the likes of Bowen and Grosicki, but when Fraser Campbell was introduced to this game, I thought he had a fantastic game. Very skillful on the ball, his link-up play was very good and his movement was very intelligent. That goal he scored pretty much summarised all of his attributes really. The defending from Sheffield Wednesday was very shoddy in the final goal. Kieran Westwood should have done better with it as well. Really, realistically, the ball was shot straight at him. But you have to say that Hull are a very exciting team to watch at the moment. Some very fast one-touch attacking play that Sheffield Wednesday really couldn't live with. In terms of Sheffield Wednesday, they were absolutely abysmal in this game. There was no real passion or desire in this game. The intensity wasn't there from them, and it's probably as poor as we've seen them in the past few weeks in the Championship. They finished this game without a shot on target, and in possession they were incredibly sloppy for this one. Things need to change there. And then we had Ipswich beating Rotherham by 1-0. We said going into this game that this was a must-win for Ipswich if they wanted to have any chance of survival come the end of the season, and they did rise to the occasion, beating Rotherham. This does still leave them 7 points adrift of safety, but that is doable in my opinion. In this game, it was 2 of Ipswich's new signings being their key players. Will Keane popping up with the goal in this one after some sloppy defending from Rotherham. They probably could have done better with that one, but nevertheless, him getting a goal on his debut, and James Collins at the back being absolutely huge for Ipswich. So far this season, this Ipswich defence has been absolutely shambolic. Dealing with balls coming into the box, having a lack of composure, a lack of leadership, that's just what James Collins is going to add to this side, and if he can stay fit from now until the end of the season, Ipswich have got a fighting chance. They were looking a lot better defensively in this one. Their football going forward was looking a lot better as well, and Ipswich do have more options now after they have added a couple more players in this January window. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that Ipswich could do the impossible and survive this season after they've been written off by a lot of people so far? Let me know down below. We then have my team Preston drawing 1-1 with Swansea City this weekend. The first half of this game, nothing really happened. Brad Potts had a pop shot from range and Declan Rudd had a good reflex save, but apart from that, nothing really was happening in the first half. It was quite a bland game of football. The game improved in the second half though. Both sides were looking a lot sharper after the break, and it was Swansea who managed to take the lead. Some nice build-up play for this one. Ratledge went on a mazy run, dribbling around a couple of players. He played the ball into Selena down the left-hand side. Selena squared it across to Baker Richardson, who tapped in to make it 1-0 to Swansea City. Swansea weren't really able to build on their momentum though, scoring that opening goal after Preston got back into the game through a penalty. Daniel Johnson scoring that one. The penalty itself did look to be a little bit harsh. It was given for handball in the end, and Swansea aren't going to be happy with that decision. I could say myself though, the referee I didn't think had a brilliant game for either side in this one. The red card that Josh Earl was shown in the 81st minute for 2 yellow cards, I thought that both bookings, the first one especially, looked a little bit soft to me. When the game was in the balance at 1-1 though, both sides had some decent chances to go on to win this game. Shonny Maguire coming on in the second half for Preston had a good impact on the game. Jayden Stockley on his debut I thought looked absolutely excellent for Preston. That physical presence that we'd like going forward this season, he's added that to our squad now. He had some brilliant hold-up play in this one. But having the extra man for the last 10 minutes, it probably would be the away side Swansea who were most disappointed not to walk away from this one with all 3 points. At times in this game I thought that Swansea played some very good football. Their link-up play was very good. All their players were very comfortable on the ball and they were getting into some dangerous positions. They were just lacking that player like Ollie McBurney in this game to really finish us off. So finishing as a 1-1 during the end, not the worst result in the world for us. And then we had Reading beating Nottingham Forest by 2-0. The first game without Ita Karanka didn't exactly go to plan for Nottingham Forest. They were absolutely abysmal in this game. When I'm recording this video, it's looking like Martin O'Neill may be appointed as a new Nottingham Forest manager. So Forest fans, let me know down below what you would make of this appointment. But I've said it in the past few videos, under Gomez I think that Reading have slowly been improving. That result against Swansea being a bit of an anomaly in that one, but in this game I thought they were the better side for the whole 90 minutes really. Nottingham Forest were far off the pace in this one, and Reading managed to take the lead in the first half through John Swift, add some nice movements from Modou Barrow down the right hand side. Forest also ended this game with 9 men after 2 players were sent off. Fox was sent off for 2 needless yellow cards, and Orique was sent off in the 83rd minute after a pretty hard challenge. It was as bad as we've seen Forest all season really. They were absolutely awful for this game, and the own goal scored by Robinson sort of summed up their afternoon. It does have to be said that under Ita Karanka things weren't exactly going completely to plan. You know, when he did leave, they they were still on this bad run of form. But there is still time for Forest to turn around their season. They are still only 4 points off the playoffs, and there is still a lot of potential in their squad, in my opinion. In terms of Reading, I think they've given themselves a fighting chance of survival. They're now only 2 points off survival, with Rotherham losing this weekend, and with more performances like this from now until the end of the season, they've got a chance of surviving. And Sheffield United now find themselves sat second in the Championship after beating QPR by 1-0 this weekend. What a season it's been for them so far, and what a job Chris Wilder is doing there. In terms of the game itself, it wasn't the best game going on this weekend. Neither side could really fashion too many openings after both defences were looking quite good for this one. Sheffield United had to be quite patient with their build-up play, as QPR were looking to put quite a few players behind the ball. But in the end, it was a very nicely worked goal. Some nice build-up play inside the box. The ball then fell out to Ollie Norwood on the edge of the box. He whipped in the ball, and David McGoldrick was the man on the spot to head Sheffield United 1-0 in front. QPR couldn't really make many openings going forward. A lot of their efforts were from long range. And the same could be said for Sheffield United in the second half. There wasn't really too much action in this one. For large parts of the game, both these two sides were cancelling each other out. But like I said, Sheffield United now sat second in the Championship. Do you guys think that Sheffield United could go on the way to automatic promotion? That really would be some story there. And two of the other promotion favourites for this season met, and they cancelled each other out with a 1-1 draw between West Brom and Norwich City. For this game, it was the home side who took the lead. Dwight Gale getting on the spot with a nice poacher's goal. A brilliant ball coming in from Mason Holgate from the right-hand side. Dwight Gale being the man at the near post to sneak the ball in past Tim Krul. And West Brom really did start this game well. They were forcing Tim Krul into a couple of saves, and West Brom were looking good. Norwich had their chances, in fairness to them, and they grew into the game as it went on. Sam Johnson was forced into a couple to keep the scoreline down. And the longer the second half went on, it wasn't like West Brom were just holding out for a 1-goal win. You know, they were going for that second goal. It just wasn't coming for them. If they did go on to get that second, that probably does wrap up the game for them. But they just couldn't find that second goal past Tim Krul. And then eventually it was Jordan Rhodes, the man on the spot, just after being introduced from the bench, to go ahead and give Norwich a point from this one. It was a brilliant poacher's effort with the ball being swung back into the box. Jordan Rhodes managed to evade all the West Brom defence. And it really was a classic Jordan Rhodes finish from what we've been accustomed to seeing from him from the past 2 or 3 years in the Championship. To have an option like Jordan Rhodes from the bench, he's always going to be a brilliant player to bring off the bench for Norwich. And he's probably been unlucky not to start more games this season, but in the end it did finish as a 1-1 draw. What I want to know from you guys is, after seeing this performance, who do you think is going to finish higher this season? Is it going to be West Brom, or is it going to be Norwich? And then we had the result which I did not see coming. Wigan Athletic beating Aston Villa by 3-0. Lately in the Championship, Wigan have been absolutely awful. They've had no creativity going forward. From open play, they've looked poor, and defensively, they've not been great either. Going up against the Villa side, who hasn't necessarily been on form lately, but I expected them to go into this game and pick up all 3 points. That was not the case in the end, and Wigan absolutely ripped this Villa side apart. Anthony Pilkington for this game, absolutely superb. What an impact he had coming into this Wigan side. For the first goal, he absolutely rinsed his way past Neil Taylor, leaving him behind and then scoring the ball into Gary Roberts to give Wigan a 1-goal lead. Defensively for this game, Wigan could have had about 5 or 6 goals. Aston Villa really were all over the place. The second goal that Wigan scored, once again, more poor defending from Aston Villa. A brilliant in-swinging cross coming into the far post. Wigan had about 4 players queuing up at the far post, but eventually it was Jacobs who headed in to make it 2-0. And then to make things even worse, they gave away a penalty, and Joe Garner was able to slot away to make it 3-0 to Wigan Athletic. Joe Garner absolutely bullied this Aston Villa defence for all 90 minutes for this one. It's the best we've seen Wigan in months in the Championship, and arguably their best performance of the season so far. We've spoken about Villa quite a lot lately with them missing a player like Jack Grealish, but this today was way more than missing a player like Jack Grealish. Their whole team from front to back was a complete mess for this one. They couldn't cope with Wigan's intensity. They were sloppy and poor in possession themselves, and defensively they were absolutely spineless for this game. Wigan were more than deserving of all 3 points, and it was a fantastic performance from the home side. And then finally we had Blackburn beating Millwall by 2-0. Going into this game, I wasn't sure what to expect. Millwall were coming into this one on a decent run of form, and with Blackburn being a little bit inconsistent away from home, I thought that Millwall may be able to get a bit of joy out of Blackburn. But the game itself didn't really have much in it. Neither side was creating too many chances. Millwall probably weren't helped by the fact that Tom Elliott had to go off early with an injury. There wasn't really much flow to the game. Millwall had a couple of long-ranging efforts, but apart from that, David Raya wasn't really tested. And the game did look to be petering out to finish as a classic 0-0 until Blackburn introduced Adam Armstrong into the game. Now, Adam Armstrong so far this season, I've not been overly impressed by him. Whenever I've seen him play this season, he's not always been brilliant, but coming on as an impact sub, I think he's probably better actually as an impact sub than he is when he's starting the game. He completely changed the game for Blackburn in this one. He set up the first goal and then scored the second on a brilliant counter-attack, finding the far post past Archer. And in the end, it was Adam Armstrong who gave Blackburn all 3 points in this one. So, out of nothing really, Blackburn walk away with an away victory. A decent 3 points for them. But guys, there were all the games that went on this weekend. So do let me know in the comments down below what you made of your team's performance. In terms of my results of the weekend, I'm going to have to give it to Wigan Athletic for picking up a fantastic 3-0 home victory over Aston Villa. I didn't see that one come in. And then as for my goal of the week, there's a few contenders for this one. I'm going to give it to Che Adams for his goal against Middlesbrough. A very inventive finish, spinning 360 degrees. A tiny finish from Che Adams. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for this episode of the Championship Roundup. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. Let me know down below what you made of your team's performance. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.